I'm a da'i, I want her to also be in da'wah. Next thing you know, she's going for 40 days and you're staying at home with the kids.
How do I know if this sister's going to be sincere or whatever, or she's actually religious?
I married this guy. When I married him, mashallah, beard, he's debating people online, mashallah, giving khutbah. Yeah, he's missing fajr. And again, that term now, romanticism, we find that it was defined by the Italians.
They were actually okay with a lot of cuckoldry and stuff like this, like where they don't have this ghira over their women.
No, I need to get it because my wife wants it. Ya akhi, ittaqillah fi nafsik. This is, you want to bring upon the harb of Allah upon you in this dunya?
When you look at female psychology, they get bored. Like, okay, what's next? And what's next?
I think it's the West, whereby we're seeing this need to give, to show love.
And then you ask, why is our relationship, our love so vapid and superficial? And when the money runs out, the love runs out. Welcome everyone to the Life Haq podcast. We are joined today live at Salt and Steak, Vancouver, with Ustad Gabriel Romani and Sheikh Abdurrahman Murad. They have come for the Generation Muslim Conference, and we're here with a bunch of beautiful brothers to get some steak and eggs and have some intense, beautiful conversation. Are you ready, brothers? Yes. Welcome to the podcast, Sheikhna. Now, I was actually soliciting topic ideas, like what are some topics that the brothers want to talk about, speak about, what do they want us to converse about during this podcast? And one of the brothers, he's a very sensitive brother, mashallah, he said, based on one of the lecture topics about relationships, he wants to talk about romance, like what are the halal ways to have romance with your wife? And we know, for example, you can have that honeymoon period at the beginning, but, how do you keep that romance as well as the years, prolong and they move on, inshallah. And maybe we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have long, fruitful, healthy marriages for our brothers and sisters. So I'm going to start off with you, brothers. So what are your thoughts on that?
Barakallah feekum. So, alhamdulillah, before everything, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Really is a joy to be back here with Dr. Sayyid and on the Life Haq podcast. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma lakal hamd. So, the topic is one that actually often comes up, and subhanallah, my advice overall is that be like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He was no doubt, things that we consider today to be romantic today, the Prophet ﷺ did them often, but then people kind of fall off the edge. So maybe the first month, they'll be kind and good with their spouse, with their wife, but then subhanAllah, afterwards, it kind of falls off. They say, khalas, that's it. I don't have to do any of this stuff anymore. What I'm talking about is the kindness, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ essentially is what people look at as being romantic, but it's not just for a matter of 1 month, 2 months. This is throughout the entire span of one's life, because the way we look at nikah, marriage, is that it's an act of worship. The more you put into this act of worship, the greater it is. So if we look at worship in that context, the longest, most continuous act of worship you will do in your life is nikah. So that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was approached by one of the companions, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, would one of us come to our wives desiring them and get reward for that? He said, yes. If you fulfill your desires in a haram way, there is sin. So if you do it in a halal way, there is reward. So it's an act of worship, first and foremost. So that said, I think ultimately you have to look at nikah as an act of worship. Whatever you do to strengthen it, it's romance, yes, at the same time, it's an act of worship that you want to solidify. Because your wife is your wife and the mother of your kids, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala as well. You're working together. And that's why I look at marriage. You're working together for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal with a goal in mind. People often look at the goal to be dunyawi only, but no, it's a goal of achieving Jannah, to get back to your homeland, which is in Jannah.
I think that's a very important point that the Sheikh is making, and I want the brothers to really pay attention to this, because sometimes you're like, I know this, I've heard this before, but that is so important, because you lose everything else is going to be meaningless. So for example, if you had a book on 101 ways to romance your wife, if you don't start that first chapter that this marriage has to have a mission, right? There's a deeper purpose of this marriage, of this union, and that we are all on a mission together, and there's going to be highs and lows, there's going to be fun times, there's going to be not so fun times, there's going to be sickness, all that stuff. But if you're not on a mission where everything is under the shade of Iman and Islam, if that's not there, if there's not that mission, then you will always have issues. You will always have different issues that you got to deal with, right? It doesn't matter what kind of romantic techniques that you have. People will be dissatisfied. They'll find a way to complain, whatever.
Okay, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam Rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I think we need to understand what the term romance means and what defines it.
Yeah.
Because if we look at the meaning of it, it's in most cases defined by Western ideology and Western philosophy.
Yeah.
So the term romance itself is the concept when we discuss, for example, in the light of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, did the Prophet ﷺ deal with his wives in a kind, in a playful manner, in a manner that instilled in them love and desire and respect? Yes. Is that, or can that be called romance? Okay,
From
is
like
that
a Western
ma'ruf?
lens, you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because this is the mistake that most brothers do, is that we do not define terms according to our paradigm. For example, we talk about justice. But if you look at most people, Muslims in the West, they define justice within Western paradigm. And it happens a lot of times where the topics that we don't like to talk so much about from the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ will be brought forward by the academics of the non-Muslims who read our books. And they say, well, is this justice according to? And I always say, like, according to which paradigm? According to which measuring stick or which rule of thumb, right, do you go based on? And this is where a lot of the Muslims in the West, we get caught up in a contradiction because we need to define our own terms. We cannot allow our society to define for us our terms. First of all, because the Prophet ﷺ defined everything for us. Alhamdulillah. So when people tell me like, this is not fair, and I'll usually, in a kind way, because obviously people don't like to be to be pushed back, you're going to say, but says who? Well, that's just the way it is. We feel it. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not how we take our life and our Sharia according to. And when people say Sharia again, right, who defined what's Sharia?
Yeah.
If we were to go based on the Western concept of what's Sharia,
Yeah.
it's cutting hands and stoning people, right?
Yeah.
That's what it goes to, right? And Sharia is Rahmah,
Yes.
right? Well, no, the West doesn't see it like that. That term has been, there's a connotation
Yeah,
to
it's
that
been
term.
propagandized, right?
100%. Well, the same thing with romance. And it has a history. So, can Muslims be kind to their wives, playful, have love that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about? Mawadda, rahma, ma'ruf. Okay, all these things are very important in a relationship. And the Prophet ﷺ, again, he exemplified these things. Can a man be weak, always chase a girl, try to always impress her, and always be like the guy who's gonna kneel down, the guy who's gonna always bring the flowers? Let's use, just for the sake of argument, the term of what they call a simp, where you simp for your wife.
Yeah.
Right? Now that term is universal. Simping is not context based. Is where you basically now lower your standards. You will cross the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just so your wife feels like you're romancing her. You will do things that are even pushing the borders of haram, that now your wife will be feeling like yesterday I had a
Why,
client.
like, is it because these, or is it they don't know the principles of Islam, or is it just because they lack confidence? They know what's haram and halal and whatnot, but they don't have confidence in themselves. You know, how some brothers are like, I'm just so happy that
Brother,
somebody's paying attention to me.
We know more about Ronaldo and Brad Pitt than we know about the Prophet ﷺ. Your
Yeah.
average Muslim
Yeah.
knows more about Ronaldo and Messi and
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever fighter with his wife and how she divorced him or how they spend their holiday more than they know about the marital life of the Prophet ﷺ, the narrations that come from the Ummahatul Mu'mineen about the intimate life of the Prophet ﷺ, which we have a lot of description. So most people are ignorant. And again, that term now, romanticism, going back to the romantic era in in poetry and in literacy and so on, we find that it was defined by the Italians, the Latins in general, the French, the Spanish. These are the ones who defined the term romantic.
Yeah, we're using a European,
Yeah.
North American
Yes.
context.
So you go on base post Renaissance, Renaissance into the Romantic era, the poetry, the love, the Romeo and Juliet, the man sitting always below the balcony of the woman, serenading her, right, simping for her, is willing to take whatever it takes, as long as she gives him, and then in the end she goes off with some other dude.
You know what's interesting that you say that, because if you look at a lot of the writings and like historical lives of the, you could say the elite in Europe, it's very different from an Islamic lens and, traditionally in many other Eastern cultures, because they had, which was very weird.
Yes.
They were actually okay with a lot of cuckoldry and stuff like this, where they don't have this ghira over their women, and they would like, oh yeah, like they can dance with somebody else. And
However,
it's weird, really strange actually.
However, and maybe Sheikh Murad can also comment on this, I'll say two more points and then pass it on. The Arabs themselves fell into this, into a romantic era of poetry, of love and serenading women, and the songs which we can see in today's world, for example. The Arabic culture is very much into a simpy love where the man is always chasing the woman.
You're saying more in recent times.
Yes, but also you find that in some of the later times in the Muslim empire, not necessarily just in Arabic culture, but you'll find it, for example, in the Andalusian culture, where now Arabic culture, Berber culture meets Latin culture.
That's where it's coming from.
Where people from France and Germany and other European countries would learn Arabic language just to impress women by making poetry, because it was the lingua franca of romanticism at some point. But the last point I want to make this thing clear is love is something very important in Islam. It is a very important term, and it's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself defines as a connection between a man and his wife. And you find the other extreme of men who think that masculinity is like to not have a connection or some sort of feeling towards your wife, and you're just macho, you're always rough, harsh, this woman is just whatever, right? And that's also another extreme and something wrong. But I guess to bring it into perspective, I believe it was Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu an, I believe, Sheikh maybe can correct me, but he was going on Hajj. And he passed by some people and he saw one man, he was really in a bad shape. And he basically asked the people like, "Ma haluhu? What's his problem? What's going on? What's his issue?" And they said, "Huwa ashiq." He said he's fallen into ishq, into like this deep, passionate.
He's madly in love.
Madly in love, right?
Yeah.
So he said that a lot of the time that he was on Arafah making dua on Yawm Arafah, he said, "Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ishq. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-ishq. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from ever becoming like this guy."
Yeah.
Today's men, when they romance, they're that guy.
Yeah.
Mental health issues, broken hearts. I've had a client yesterday who was basically trying to say, like, my wife wants me to take riba. I'm going to go into riba because I want to make sure she's happy. Like, people are crossing the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to really make their wives, given their dreams, of having this beautiful vacation or taking these selfies on a beach somewhere in Zanzibar, or this beautiful house with a picket fence, and then he's gonna walk her in right holding her, and there's petals on the way, and then petals on the bed. This is the
Or carry her over the threshold.
carrying over exactly.
Unfortunately, brothers are out of shape these days, so they can't
They
even
won't be able
carry.
to. They can't squat her. She'll squat.
I'll
him.
hire somebody to carry you.
Right. So these are the issues.
Yeah.
Allahu alam.
Yeah. You know, subhanAllah, like that you mentioned that, Sheikh, I don't know if you heard of this like recent viral story that was going around, but because you would expect, okay, they want to be romanticized and taken care of and all these different things. And so when you do more, you'll get more appreciation. But it seems like it's almost the reverse, especially if the right mentality and framework is not put in place. So I don't know if you've heard this news story recently with Aisha Curry. She's Steph Curry's wife. So Steph Curry, everybody knows, right? One of the top multi-million dollar basketball player, NBA champion. He provided the most lavish, best lifestyle for his wife, right? So his wife recently on podcasts, actually she complained previously years ago on podcasts where she feels, because now that she's had kids and things like that, she feels that she misses men pursuing her, okay? And then recently, she was complaining about how she had to put her career on hold for family and to support, her husband, okay, who's provided this crazy lifestyle. But because she's not, it's like almost like this competition. How come I haven't been able to accomplish, I don't know, you can't hit threes like that, right? So I don't know what you want to accomplish. So anyways, she's complaining about this guy who's provided this lavish lifestyle, nothing to complain about. So there's no complaints. He's never beat at her. He's never yelled at her. He's never done all these different things. She's literally complaining about this lifestyle that she has. You know what I mean? It's like if you can't argue with, the old Arab poetry, if you can't find someone to argue with, you argue with your feet, right? So it's like you're finding something to complain about. So what can a guy do in this era when you can't do what Steph Curry did for his wife? So are you going to end up in the same situation no matter how much you romance and, do for your wife? What do you think?
I just want to add one thing, Barakallah feekum. So what I find interesting is that often we lack a balance in our lives, right? So we have this extreme and other extremes as well. So if you look at Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we'll see that there is that fine balance. Yeah. There are moments where, yes, love, we should not take it to an extreme. And we find, those examples in the hadith. And two come to mind, actually. The first one is the hadith of Al-Aqra' ibn Habis radiallahu anh, where it's not about husband and wife, but this is more about love in general. Where when he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam hugging and kissing his grandchildren, right? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I have 10. I had never kissed any single one of them at all, ever. So he didn't say this to basically look down upon what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, but rather he was saying this to inform Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you have men like me who are so masculine that if you command us to do anything, love, emotion plays no role in our action or anything that we do. We are like robots. We are ready to do whatever you want us to do. If it was any other person, they would say, Alhamdulillah, we have men like these people that can step up and do whatever they need to do. But Rasulullah didn't say that. He said, what can I do? If Allah has taken out the mercy from your heart, Allah will show no mercy to those who show no mercy.
Yeah.
That's a balance issue now. He went to an extreme. Rasulullah did not approve of that at all. Men today, they go to an extreme, whatever the case be, whatever that extreme looks like. We have to be always in that middle, that balanced zone. So neither to one extreme or the other, but rather to always have our life in that pristine balance. And, I can't tell you do this or do that, but one has to recognize the balance must have the Quran and Sunnah as a key and central, part of our lives. Often like Ustad Gabriel mentioned that what happens is that people would, disregard the Quran and Sunnah for the sake of getting closer to their wives. And I've seen this as well. Many times where you have husbands coming and asking, well, I need to get this house on riba. I'm like, ya Habibi, why are you doing this? You're living already. No, I need to get it because my wife wants it. Ya akhi, ittaqillah fi nafsik. This is, you want to bring upon the harb of Allah upon you in this dunya? Like, come on. So, that's where they lack that balance because they're so to that extreme that they can no longer see where they should be actually in life. And this is the sad thing, subhanAllah. We see it unfortunately, very commonly, subhanAllah, among many.
Yeah. And it's like, because romance is commercialized, it's almost like love is equated to money. You can't show express love without money, without gifts, right? If you look at the culture here, you can't celebrate Christmas without gifts. You can't celebrate Valentine's Day without gifts. Everything, like whether it's religious or other these secular different types of holidays, is all commercialized. Easter, you got to buy Easter eggs and the basket and the decorations. I have patients who 1 month before Halloween, Sheikh, can you check this out? 1 month before Halloween, they're starting to set up their decorations.
Yeah.
It's all commercialized. And then you ask, why is our relationship, our love so vapid and superficial? And when the money runs out, the love runs out.
Yeah. But
You know what I mean?
You know, Dr. Sayyid, the thing is that, subhanAllah, I think it's the West whereby we're seeing this need to give, to show love.
Yeah.
Often even with fathers and their kids, the way that we or parents show love is, I give you this, I give you that. I bought you this, I'll buy you this, right?
Yeah.
And the kids begin to expect that kind of a exchange, right? Now, when it comes to the husband's role in the wife of the wife, that same thing kind of reverberates, where we have that expectation or that need in the mind of the individual. I have to give something, right?
Yeah.
But all it could be is that you're there present, not absent. And I've seen this often where a husband will be in the home, wife will come and complain that he's never there for me. Although he's there all the time. He's working from home. How is he not there? The fact is he's completely ignoring, door is shut, neglecting her for the entire day. End of day, he comes and sleeps, has breakfast, salaam alaikum, done, that's it. So it's not a gift that will make this thing work. It's to be balanced, to give that time, which is a requirement. You have to do that. If Rasulullah could do it, then we can do it by right as well. SubhanAllah.
Sheikh, just to share something personal with both of you, I had to take some time off just to recover, some for health reasons. So just spent a lot of time just locally, right? And I had in the morning, so it was just me and the kids, wife, and so it's like kind of our little staycation type of thing. So we said, okay, for these 2 weeks, because I have time off, we usually have a once a week family halaqas. So we have family halaqa where all the kids present something, my wife presents something, I give a reminder. So we're going to do this every morning. So after Fajr, we're going to have the family halaqa every day, and then we'll make breakfast together, right? So we did a bunch of activities during those 2 weeks, right? And then I asked them at the end of this, I said, what was your favorite part of this family vacation? And they said, morning halaqas, family halaqa, and breakfast. What was that? There's not Disneyland. It's not like, going on rides, not going to the mall, not any of this stuff. It's like literally that was their favorite, most memorable part. And then literally we would be joking about, oh yeah, remember when he gave this, like, cause it's, you have literally like from a teenager to like, a 7-year-old, and even my 2-year-old wanted to give a reminder one day. And it's just like, we're just like literally joking about, and those are the memories that get infused in that type of setting. And it didn't cost us anything, Sheikh. It didn't cost us anything. You have some comments on that, Sheikh?
Just to follow up on a few things that you said.
Yeah.
Why, when someone behaves overtly, nicely, it seems like it regains the opposite reaction?
Yes.
You have Steph Curry. You have what's called the Tom Brady effect. All right.
What's the Tom Brady effect?
So they basically say it's Tom Brady was like, you're talking about the man.
Yeah, like famous, right?
Famous.
Good looking.
Good looking.
Yeah.
4 times Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
Still playing, making, right?
Yeah.
His wife still went and misbehaved.
Yeah, oh yeah, she yeah.
Yeah.
But wasn't there a jiu-jitsu coach involved?
jiu-jitsu
You don't let anybody put your wife in
That's
a
what it
triangle
is.
choke.
But I guess you would think that a lot of men today don't understand it. They're not willing to face reality. So I'm going to try to...
Yeah.
There's so many things to be analyzed here, so I'm going to try to be as organized as possible. Number one is the more human beings, our psychology is that well, in a sense, we're prey. Okay, we can be prey to each other, we can be predators, but in general, we're prey. Meaning, when something chases, we run. In general, so where something chases us, we run. And it seems like the more you go towards someone, without using the balance the Sheikh was talking about, the more that person is going to move away from you. and I wish I'll be wrong, but it's in my counseling, 22 years, thousands of cases, I see this principle being lived over and over. The more a guy crosses the balance and he's trying to do more and more and overly exaggerates, he's compromising his deen. Okay, he gives his children everything.
Yeah.
What does he say? I didn't have it, so I'm going to give them everything. He gives his wife everything. Why? Because his dad didn't give his mother everything. And now, forget about Sharia, forget about halal, haram. The main measure is, are they happy or not?
Yeah.
Do
Do
they?
you think that undermines the man's self-worth and respect?
100%. 100%. Because now what this woman sees is that this guy has no legs to stand upon.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever it takes. In a world where women do get a lot of attention, they get very easily spoiled. Yeah, a woman can take that and use that against him.
Yeah.
And when a man keeps the balance, when you look at female psychology, if you're just going on a trajectory and just always giving more and more and more, it's still very steady, even though it's increasing. They get bored. Like, okay, what's next? And what's next? And what's next? And what's next? So when we look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, sometimes his wives had, mashallah, things would come their way. And sometimes Aisha radiallahu anha says that there will be months where there will be no fire lit in the house of the Prophet ﷺ.
Yes.
Now, did the Prophet ﷺ not have access to Baytul Ma'al, and did the Ummah not start spreading after Medina and there was wealth that was coming? It did. But the Prophet ﷺ was very, very careful. He didn't really indulge too much in that. There was al-khums that he would take, for example. The khums is for Allah and His Messenger.
And look at the advice, because you're saying this, the advice he gave to his own daughter, Fatima radiallahu anha, when she said, oh, can I have a servant?
Exactly.
Right?
With Ali radiallahu anhu, when they were together, and the Prophet ﷺ taught him dhikr.
They could have. Yeah.
He could have
just given
but
easily a
daughter.
servant, right?
But
Yeah.
he was doing tarbiyah.
Yeah.
All right. So with women, life it goes up and down.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a man is going to protect his family, but sometimes they need to feel that things are not perfect, and sometimes you need to reward them, and sometimes it needs to be a little bit. It keeps them on their. It makes them happy. It keeps them engaged. You feel alive. They will complain, but you know what? That feeling of sometimes, I'm not going to say instability, but some volatility, some excitement. There's this happening and that happening, and then you solve the problem. There's a problem. Then you solve it as a man. Ooh, right? All of a sudden, like, whoa, all right. Things were not so good.
A little bit of a challenge in life. Yeah, keep life, keep life not,
I'm always careful with the words because they can be so misunderstood. So challenge is the right word.
Yeah.
Because volatility might be misinterpreted. That's it. There has to be a challenge in life. Even for her to feel that this man manages these challenges. Wow. Okay?
Yeah.
And one of the main things that's happened going back to the whole romanticism and the romantic era with Shakespeare, with the poems, with a lot of the literacy that entered into our modern times, into movies and so on, what happens is that guys have been pushed towards, kind of like what Sheikh Murad said, that, bring the flowers, bring the chocolates, bring this, bring that. That's how you show your love. You need to be under a balcony. You need to serenade her. You need to sacrifice something to really show your true love. Now, provision is something that women like. And even the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, tahadu tahabu. Give hadiyah, give gifts, you increase in love. But women, no doubt, they love to receive things.
But and that's programmed in us too, to give.
100%.
It's programmed in men to provide
Men
and to give.
want to feel like they're useful.
Yeah.
Okay, if a man is not useful, he implodes, man. He's self.
But you're living in an era too where anything you can get for her, she can get for herself.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the problem.
That's
what I wanted to go to.
It's not even special anymore, right?
Society has tried to level the playing field where men and women are equal. And there's something fundamentally wrong with this. And only if it would have been like that, right? But what's happened now is that women have been pushed above. Right? So they are on top of the balcony and the guy has to try to reach for them.
Yeah.
He needs to do whatever it is for her to just throw a rope for him to climb over. Right? And what's happened is that now, because women by nature, they are emotional creatures. They've been stripped of their ability to really be the ones who feel and who have that romantic emotionality in them. Why? Because guys are doing it. Guys have been conditioned into crying and showing their this, and if nothing happens. And now women are kind of looking like, the two cannot be at the same level. There's no such thing. I can't give you $5 and you give me $5 back. What's the point of that exchange? It has to be unequal.
Yeah.
It has to be. So the woman has to be at a point where she needs to look at her husband in a sense of respect, where she looks at him as like, wow, this man is wow. Okay? And because it's the opposite right now, the men are looking at the woman like, wow, this woman is wow. I'm willing to do anything, whatever it takes to be with her. Now he's stripped her of her ability to love, to feel emotions, because he's doing all of it. He's doing most of it. He's pushing so hard. And she's kind of sitting there just being the recipient. And that makes her bored. At some point, brother, it's going to be a point where she's going to, I don't like this. And I talk to a lot of sisters. Sisters, why are you divorcing? Why are you leaving? I don't know, brother. I just feel, I don't feel, I felt, but I didn't feel, but now I feel differently. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. Why did you cheat with this man? It's the way he made me feel.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I can't explain it. It's the way there's never bro. I can't connect two rational points.
There's multiple things that are synergizing, I feel, that are causing this to occur. So one is when the purpose of those relationships are more like fulfillment of self-desire, right? There's no altruistic purpose that makes you give to each other and the community and your family and these things, right? So when you live in a selfish paradigm, then once your like dopamine level and something is maxed, you can move on to the next thing, right? I think that's one part of it. But because we're living in this commercialized society, I spoke about on the lecture last night, where, for example, birth control pills, like everybody's on the birth control pills, Muslim, non-Muslim, right? They're all on the birth control pills. One of the effects they're finding out right now because of the effect of the birth control pill is that there's a dissatisfaction in relationships. Because when you have a woman going in her cycles, certain cycles, and the way that their hormones break down, how they peak and they break down, you need that process to occur for women to have basically periods where they feel less like, for example, desiring, and then their desire goes up. You know what I mean? They feel satisfied. They feel less anxious and so forth. But one of the things that they're finding is that they're more dissatisfied, right? And why does even birth control exist? It exists in a materialistic, individualistic framework, right? Where everything is commercialized, we need more, producers and consumers. We need women in the workforce and so forth, right? And you'll see that it's introduced to women as soon as they even start having their period. That becomes an option, and I see this very clearly. As soon as they become 13, 14 years old, a huge number of girls will be on birth control. Exactly. Yeah, and that's a big, big part of it. There's a big part of this relationship dissatisfaction is the moral and the value framework that are promoted within society, and then also some of these actual substances that are causing that, like environmental substances now that we've created, right? But now that we see this situation within many Muslim families, and we see there is now an effect on an entire generation of Muslims in the West. Not only here, if we look at in our Muslim countries, like the rate of divorce has skyrocketed, right? It's exponentially skyrocketed. And then that's why I think we look at, hey, is it more romance that we need? Is it less do we need to, so people are trying to work this out. But then I think myself, and I want to get your take on this, is that when I talk to some of these families, and I try to give them some nasiha and counseling and so forth, I ask them, what is your schedule like? Like, what is your day-to-day? Because talk is cheap, but how you live dictates what is around you and what you will end up going, right? Your trajectory in life. And if you look at it, there is not a meaningful purpose like they don't, for example, how many families pray together? Right? So if they're home, if you're praying at home, obviously if you're in the masjid, you're praying at the masjid. But how many families pray together? How many families are eating together? How many families are learning the deen together? Together. Not like, okay, I'm farming my kid out in an Islamic school or a madrasa or a hifz program. But how many are doing this together? Because what you do together reflects a collective mission. You can be on an individual mission. You know, I gave an example, you know, to the brothers when they came to Camp Sunnah. I said, listen, if my goal at the Camp Sunnah is to, or I gave an example of the gym. I don't know if you remember that example I gave to the gym. So say me and Ustad Gabriel are going to the gym, and we have two different missions to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym because I just want to get as much content for my social media. Okay, so I want to get as much content of me working out and stretching and posing and stuff like that. Ustad Gabriel's mission is he wants to put in a good, challenging workout, and he wants to really challenge himself, develop himself. So now we go to the gym. We have two different missions. We're going to the same place. We're in the same car. We're going to the same place. I'm there, and I'm upset because he keeps getting in my shot. I'm upset because he's taken too long on a machine. Right? I'm upset because, he's, not he keeps moving my camera. He's upset with me because I'm using up this equipment and the space and I'm disrupting him because he wants to go from one workout to the next workout to the next workout. So literally we're going to the same place in the same vehicle, but we have two different missions. And so there's going to be disharmony, there's going to be friction, there's going to be conflict. Right? We go there. We're literally going the same. We're dressed the same. People are going to marriage. They think, okay, we're going to the same place together. We're going through a nikah. And then why is there so much conflict and friction? Because they're going out with two different missions. They had completely different goals in mind. Right? On the surface, it's like, oh, they both agreed to get married. They're both getting married. Everything should be okay. You know what I mean? But if you don't have the same mission, and people say, oh yeah, we're Muslim, we're doing half our deen. It's like, show me. Are you praying together? Are you like hustling and helping each other pray together? Are you reminding each other for Quran? Are you trying to help each other memorize? Are you both trying to uplift it? Like that shows you're on the same mission for the deen. And any other mission, Sheikh, I would say is a failure. Every other mission, especially living in the dunya today where the odds are stacked against you, you can't just live and rely on the traditional values of society because that changed. The culture has changed. The culture does not, it no longer values marriage and sacrifice and family. Talk to the girls today. They do not want children. Muslim girls, if you talk to them today, they will say, I do not want to have kids. This is completely different because we used to, from a young age, we're like, okay, when I get married, we're going to do this. Both boys and girls. I remember the era that I grew up with, it's not like when I get married, I want to raise my kids like this. And the parents would say this too, is like, make sure you when you have kids, you do this, you have this value, you have this value. Right? I remember growing up, it's like, you're like, be careful, don't marry a Canadian. Right? You know what I mean? Like they would still like it's given. You're getting married. Just be careful. You want to do this, right? And so, my question to you, Sheikhna, is how are we going to align that mission and make that people understand the importance and the value of us, first of all, developing an Islamically based mission for the marriage, and how do we prioritize that in our lives?
Barakallah feekum. So, as you were talking, I had a few thoughts in mind.
Yeah.
The key thing is, and I think this is overall the thing that we're seeing across the board, people don't get married for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. They're getting married because she looks good, or because he has this big of a bank account, or he's working in this industry.
Loneliness, companionship, right? Which is
I think those
natural.
are secondary now at this point.
Yeah. And but you can have those desires, as the Prophet ﷺ said, you can marry a woman for different things.
Yeah.
But you're missing the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, we go to the gym, maybe, you want to build your whatever page, So, but if you're not there to work out, you missed the boat. Why are you even going there? You know what I mean? Just use AI now. You don't even need to go to the gym, right?
So the point is that we have people who get married
Yeah.
with the intent of not it being an act of worship. It's the trend. It's the right thing to do. And she looks good, or he is whatever he is, right?
Yeah.
Beyond that, there's nothing there. So what happens over here, if you have nothing inside there except for the way that she looks and the way that, or how he spends, there'll come a time very shortly where this falls apart. Next thing you know, the relationship is in disarray. This is what I deal with. So you deal with this as well, where we have people who have gotten married for the sake of dunya, and dunya is something that is so difficult to kind of grasp and hold on to. So when you think you've got it, you don't have it, and it falls apart. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
So now, if a person gets married with I think this is the number one thing.
Yeah.
What's your intention of getting married? It is an act of worship. I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. Number one. Number two, yes, looks are, I'm not saying, disregard looks. Looks are important. Everything is important. The things that draw you towards the other is very important. And you should have those in mind. But that should not be the only thing. So let's say you have a sister who is beautiful, but does not pray salah, does not wear hijab. And I've seen brothers, yeah, you know what? I think I can change her. I tell them, never, ever get married thinking you can change someone, because you'll never change that person. They'll change you because you're going to drop your standards,
And
just
then
to be
they'll
with it.
leave you with change after the
Exactly.
divorce.
You're
All you'll be
exactly
doing
right.
is left with
Yeah,
change.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
You'd be
it.
left-
All the bills will be gone.
So that's the point. You're going to have people who do this, and we have to kind of take it right back. What is the intention of marriage? It's an act of worship. I'm looking. Why are you looking for this person? Why are you considering her to be your wife, for example?
Yeah.
If the answer is she looks good, and this is what I come across,
Yeah.
and brothers, this is the thing that it's frustrating, because I deal with this divorce cases often. And then the reality is, I got married to her because she looked this way, and then it didn't really work out. There's no substance afterwards.
They don't know how to assess deen.
No, they don't.
Like nobody knows. Like when you say, "Oh, this is a religious person. This isn't a religious person."
Yeah.
I feel that the way you analyze is a very superficial way. Like as you said, just wear hijab.
Yeah.
And the advice I give to brothers is like, okay, how do I know if this sister is going to be sincere or whatever, or she's actually religious? I'm like, you cannot control somebody else. All you can do is become more religious, more practices, and sincere yourself. Because when you're that yourself, you can recognize it in others. You can't recognize it. You know, like how they say, like, game recognize game, right? So if you, for example, if I'm really into mixed martial arts and so forth, I can recognize a casual fan and a real, like a person who's a real fan, because just the references they use, even if they practice it themselves and whatnot, there's things you can pick up on. Like for example, yourself, Sheikh, you're a scholar. You'll be able to right away pick up, okay, this guy's a learned person, this isn't a person. Even if the person is Instagram famous or whatever, right? You'll be able to pick it up because you are you live that, right? So I think the reason why they can't judge, this is my theory, you tell me if you think it's true, is because they're not truly religious themselves. Like they're not fully practicing the deen. They're taking segments, I'm doing Jummah, I'm doing this, but they actually can't assess because they're not living it themselves. That's why my advice to brothers, like, how do I find I'm like, reform yourself. And your case, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, the good men are for the good women and the good women are for the good men. You know what I mean? So if you want a good woman, you got to be a good man, and you'll be able to recognize that. You know? Right? What do you think of my
I absolutely agree with
theory?
You. Yes, absolutely. And I just want to add one thing as well, that when you look at who you want to get married to, always have in mind that would she be suitable to be the mother of my kids?
Yes.
And will she be the one who helps me get to Jannah? I think that's a key thing as well.
Yeah.
Barakallahu feekum.
Go ahead.
One mistake, though, that we do when we look at our mission and vision,
Yes.
this is Allah alam, yani, my opinion, but also Aisha radiallahu anha didn't do what the Prophet ﷺ did. Khadija radiallahu anha, because women love to quote Khadija to justify their exiting the homes and being businesswomen and whatnot. And I always say to the sisters, Wallah, if we're honest enough and we study the life of Khadija radiallahu anha, to see this amazing example of support for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She was his main emotional physical and financial support.
And all the children came from Khadija
Yes,
radiallahu
and at
anha.
the beginning-
So it's a misnomer for people to think that you're applying how she lived before marriage and after. This is not two different things. Yeah.
But even before marriage, Khadija radiallahu anha had specific limits and values. She would
Yeah.
not do what these women try to do today, quoting,
Yes.
I'm a female CEO boss babe because Khadija was. Really, it kills me. Because it's a lie, first and foremost.
It's
right?
a distortion.
a distortion.
Manipulation of the facts.
Yes. Now, what we learned though from the life of Khadija radiallahu anha when we study and we look at the Ummahatul Mu'minin, while they had their contribution to the deen, no doubt, but it was not on the same level. And you find them usually as support. And this is what happens in today's world, guys who are in dawah specifically. I'm not going to even talk about everyone else. They are going to look for a woman who does exactly what they do. And I believe this is a mistake. I believe because a woman's religiosity is not like a man's religiosity. Now, while they have the same fara'id and certain duties, you find that even then there's some differences. A man is going to pray for the past 30 days. Women gets a break.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You can't say where everything is the same.
Yeah.
We are in this whole, we have this disease of equating two unequal things. As some of the
Yes.
ulama said that when you do that, when you try to equate two unequal things, it's dhulm. This is dhulm. Because they're not the same. وَلَيْسَ ذَكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. We're not
The best unions are complementary.
complementary.
You know what I mean?
Synergy.
Exactly.
Men need to look for a woman who is going to support.
Yeah.
Okay, the man has a specific mission. This is something that's clear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? A woman has a supporting mission, and that is very important. What society has tricked women into is that, no, you need to do exactly what he does. If not, you're missing out.
Yeah.
So the fear of missing out is a huge thing. So a lot of sisters come and they say, but what about you guys? But why can you guys do that? I always hear this argument. But you guys do that. Why can't we do it?
No, and they don't value what they do.
Brother.
Do you know what I mean? Because value should not be based upon what's recognized by human beings. What is given, the value is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He's the true compensator for that value.
That's what it is. A big mistake that brothers do. They'll look into, I'm a public speaker. I want a woman who's a public speaker.
Yeah.
I'm a da'i. I want her to also be in dawah. Next thing you know, she's going for 40 days and you're staying at home with the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's
40
going
days.
for jamaat, you know, or something. No, there's some sisters.
There's like a
who are-
sisters division of the TJs.
Brother,
I didn't know that.
I do premarital counseling.
Yeah.
I help brothers and sisters get online with the permission of their families, and I question both sides. So a lot of the time, the sisters, I ask them, what's your mission and vision in life? And I ask the brothers the same thing. And a lot of times the brothers are going to say, I want to have a nice family and have a good home. I want to raise my children properly. And then I ask the sister, she's like, I want to go to Africa and save the children. I want to go to climb Mount Kilimanjaro on K2. I want to backpack through Europe. I want to save the people of Gaza and this and that. I'm just like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
The guy wants to sit at home and raise children.
Yeah.
And she wants to fight.
Yeah.
I had sisters who said, I want to be in the army of
I
the
want to
Mahdi.
bench 225.
I want,
What?
no, yeah. I
wanna
want to
bench
ride
225, brother.
horses.
Yeah.
So you see that there's been a confusion in that mission.
Yeah.
Where the brothers are the ones, when you see that they're the ones who are supposed to get out there and do things, and the women are supposed to build the nest.
Yeah.
The women have that amazing opportunity from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to nurture human beings.
Yeah.
To nurture those souls where, man, it's hard for us to be able to do that.
Do you think that's because of a lack of like actual fiqh understanding of the deen? Because your interpretation of the deen is again being filtered through like this Western liberal
But to
lens.
say it, the thing is that even our own imams are encouraging sisters to go out there and be men.
Yeah.
And to do the things that men
But again,
do.
like even if it's coming from imams, it doesn't mean it's correct, right?
I know that, but your average awam, the regular people, are going to look at it. But Sheikh so and so said this, or Imam that, or Mufti this said.
Yeah.
So who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ibn Halal, you don't know anything about Islam.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell me? My dad raised me, put me in this and this and this and this,
Yeah.
and now you're telling me that I need to stay at home?
Yeah.
I can't accept that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very difficult when you've been conditioned your whole life to believe a certain thing and you have that desire to actually go out there and do things. Then now a man that's marrying you says, whoa, wait a second, sister. Where are you going? Put a brakes, right? You need to stay home. You need to take care of my children. She looks at us like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? You go do that yourself. I'm going to do...
Is that why you see, for a lot of brothers, they want to go to other countries?
Back home.
Back home. Like they want to go back home to get married.
Akhi, the
Is
thing
that what do you think is driving a lot of them to do that?
Yes, of course. But again, back home doesn't mean it's safe now.
Yeah.
Back home is we're living in a global village. The problem is, as you said, is the fiqh understanding, the educational process that's coming, not only from our communities but at large, everywhere. Let me give you an example. I don't know. I've been moving around. Maybe Sheikh can also correct. Maybe I'm limiting it to a specific sample population. But I've moved around a lot. I've never yet so far seen a masjid. Maybe the brothers can also correct me. I've never yet so far seen a masjid having a halaqah or a class for cooking or sewing or cleaning or stuff like that. I've never seen, like, I have not, but I've seen boxing, jiu-jitsu for women, archery, horse riding, I don't know, public speaking, leadership, huge one.
I think because
have you seen
culturally,
classes in the masjid?
but this is, in this society, that was not the case. When I was growing up, junior high, high school, we had home economics, okay? That class was dominated by
Girls.
by women, by girls. That was like literally guys would take industrial arts, like how to do woodworking,
My time
working on like engines.
Girls would be like this little baby to a class that you have to take
and
care
the girls
of.
would be like sewing, cooking, all that stuff, and then a few like guys started filtering into there, and usually you don't respect those dudes that were doing it, but then it just became gone. It just disappeared. You don't even have that
it's a
anymore.
shame, brother. It's embarrassment for a woman or for a masjid to demand that.
We grew up just a couple decades ago. We grew up in this environment, and then as you're correct, because we adopted the culture, we changed with the culture, even though their culture originally had what we try to preserve. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And it's all. You know what, Sheikh? Now that you mentioned this, you know what's crazy? My wife told me this, is that some families are purposefully telling their daughters, don't learn to cook because then they're going to rely on you for cooking. They actually give them the opposite training. So it's like you once you start cooking for the family, then they're going to rely on you cooking all the time, and they like literally sabotage them. You're sabotaging the marriage. And subhanallah, how does that affect the quality of life? Okay, if the woman's not cooking, and if the man's not into cooking, nobody's cooking, you're eating out, and you've just been swallowed up by this commercialized, like, okay, let's get Uber Eats and skip the dishes, and we're going to go out all the time, and you're literally poisoning your family over time.
100%.
You know what I mean?
With all due respect, like the girls they can jab, they can cross, they can hook, they can do all kinds of workouts, powerlifting. I've seen, mashallah, a lot of the girls now, hijabis, niqabis. Okay, they're pushing it. And I always ask, like in my session, like, do you know how to cook, like make at least scrambled eggs, beans, canned food? A lot of them are not able to do that. Even that. And that is sad. I'm sorry.
And you know how much of an important skill and support that is for family? I remember my mother, a lot of times we didn't have a lot of food in the house, and she would make crazy things out of just a few ingredients and a few things that were around the house. And to this day, one of the things that when I think of growing up and like the love and attachment to my mother, I think about her bread she used to make, the things that she used to make that I grew up on. And there's this deep spiritual and emotional connection because of the food your mother used to make. And now you're even cutting that off. And then you wonder why they have no problem throwing you in an old folks home. Here, have the same slop you used to feed me. You know what I mean? That's how it is nowadays, right? There's that love and that deep like connection and appreciation, because we didn't put that time and investment ourselves, for our families. But how do we change that trend? Because you're absolutely correct. There is no these domestic arts like how to maintain a healthy household and how to support, say, if your husband is a da'i, and you can have a mission of prioritizing Islam within that household. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do the same thing, because you're absolutely correct. Because we think it has to be everything is conflated. It's a competition. If you're doing it, I have to also do it. Because what I think, low key, everyone's dealing with riyah. Yeah. They're dealing with, I have to get a recognition from somebody else. I think people have a hard time being comfortable with the fact that if I do something and I don't get the recognition, is it even worth it? Whether it's charity work, I think it's across the board. But if you look at the Islamic paradigm, we do need to do things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many of our acts of worship, or what we give, should be hidden. You know, one of the ones that are shaded under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is give so, secretly with one hand, the other hand doesn't know. Right? But we're all, al-hakim wa takathur, this rivalry is just distracting us. So how do we break that trance? How do we break that algorithm, Sheikh?
Barakallah feek. So Dr. Sayyid, I think the key thing over here is to see who the Prophet ﷺ is, because often, and I think this is one of the biggest issues, brothers and sisters do not know the Prophet ﷺ. All we know of it is maybe what we see on Instagram, those little reels, shorts. Yeah. Exactly. It's like, just it might be, if you read that short, because short you can kind of expand it. Yeah. It might be just one sentence.
Yes.
And they've expanded it now and made it theatrical in a way. That's all they know. Oh, Rasulullah was like this. Tayyib, what more do you know of the Prophet ﷺ? I don't know much more. So the reality is, if we go back to that lifestyle, I think this is the first step, knowing who the Prophet ﷺ is. If you love him, learn about him, know him, live by his standards, see what he did, right? It doesn't mean that you go back to, people think, once again, Rasulullah was very poor, didn't have anything. But there are books that have been written, research studies that have been put together that show how Rasulullah ﷺ had wealth. He was wealthy. In today's standards, it was in the tens of millions of dollars, his net worth. But he never spoiled or never wasted money. He rather showed us how to be with this wealth and how you should conduct yourself. So I think the first step over here is to go back to see what he did, how he was. Add to that, in the seerah we have the hadith, وَكَانَ فِي مِهْنَةِ أَهْلِهِ, right? He was always in the home and helping out. So let's say his wife cooked something, made something, he was there helping out. It's like some brothers, mashallah, they'll push the wife out to go to work. I've seen this. This is one of the most frustrating things I've seen. The brother's sitting at home doing nothing. Wife is working, right? She's out there with the breadwinner of the home. And then she comes back, clean the house up, cook for me, this, that. This gets me, because now, ya akhi, ittaqillah fi nafsik. You are doing something that is really, you might think, I'm the man, I get to do whatever I want. But here, you're not even doing the sunnah of Rasulullah, bare minimum. You have to go out and struggle. Even if it means you get a low-paying job. I can't, because I'm an engineer, I'm this, I'm that back home. I was in this field, I'm not going to go down to any other field. What is your wife doing? She's out there working in a service job in Tim Hortons or this and that. Like, ya akhi, ittaqillah fi nafsik. There's got to be some standards over here. This is the thing that's frustrating. Where you have, this, it's not just from the sister side, it's the brother side as well. It's just, we're living in very, very troubling times, in the sense that I think the first step forward is to learn who Rasulullah was, take those fundamentals, and put it in your life. People are ignorant, honestly. We're living in a time of jihad, subhanAllah. Allah musta'an.
I have a question for you. Say you find yourself, okay, I got to make changes. And I got to be a man. I got to take responsibility. I have to get in shape. I'm not even in shape. I need to change my habits. I got to change my lifestyle. I want to do a complete reformation. I want to do a tajdeed and islah of my family. Okay? How can I go? What are some steps I can take to make that transformation? Because you can't, overnight, you tell your wife, do this, do that. Okay, I'm going to be the man now. We do this. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Stop eating donuts every day, right? So, give me a roadmap. You're gonna do like how to be a man, okay, and lead a good, strong family. And I'm in a rut. How do I get out of that rut? Tell me.
Okay, Bismillah. First and foremost, and I want to give pragmatic let's say, solutions.
Okay.
Of course, whenever we talk, there's a lot of theory and so on and so forth. So let us look again at what can be done, let's say, from today.
Yes.
And I believe it's tested, not because it's my way, not because it is something that I've found out with some research. It's because this is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So I tell the brothers, they always, some of the counseling that I do is about improving yourself, self-improvement, life coaching. The brother says, brother, tell me something that I can do, that I need to change. I hate myself. I finally reached a point where I know I really hate myself. I can't deal with this anymore. I said, number one, conquer the morning. Start waking up early. Stop sleeping after Fajr. Stop being lazy. This was the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, not just that he made dua for his ummah, for barakah. You are going to get 10x of what you're doing in the morning. It's simple. I mean, it's up to you now. I mean, that's something that every person can do. Don't tell me. No one's tying you to the bed. No one's put some handcuffs on you. It's just you need to beat your nafs. I can't help you in that. Some people pay. Some people pay people to come, knock at their old door, break the door if they have to, throw water on them and pull them out of bed. And they pay a lot of money. Okay, to insult them, to push them, to get them out of bed. Yes, really. You know, because they know the value of actually not going back to sleep. So I said, brother, start the morning. And subhanAllah, look at the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put this system for us. You're forced to get up in the morning. You have to pray Fajr. You have to pray before sunrise. The non-Muslims used to get up at sunrise. That was their idea of early. The Muslim gets before the sun. You beat the sun.
Yes.
You beat the sun, subhanAllah.
And I've heard you talk about the importance of tahajjud as well.
Tahajjud, that's 100%. You're never gonna miss the morning if you go before that even, right? So, but let's start with the morning. So get the morning in. All right, that's number one. Start moving, start doing things in the morning, just as a general point, number one. Number two, like we need to learn. Everything happens from having an understanding of what you need to do. You need to have that knowledge. The blueprint is there. You know, the barakah blueprint, as one of my friends calls it. You know, he says this is the barakah blueprint. It's there, but then again, most people do not know. They don't know the sunnah. What is sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to model yourself according to his example. You model. You try to. Imagine trying to reinvent things, trying to find different. No, it's like it's already there for you. All you have to do is implement. How can you implement if you don't know? So these are the two things. I don't want to go 5, 6, 10 points, you know. Two things that I guarantee the brothers, if they wake up early and stay up after Fajr and push whatever it is, you need to do your emails, you want to do your workout. Some guys are working out at 8 p.m. at night. What a bad idea, man. Okay, see, wake up, work out in the morning. Do your emails in the morning. Do your reading in the morning.
Yes.
Do your studies in the morning. Wherever you are in your life.
The blessings in the morning.
The blessings. Put that time in the morning, and start looking into the barakah blueprint, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. What else can I do? What else? How else can I? What knowledge do I need to seek? Things will start connecting, man. 100%. 100%.
So start with the mornings. You're praying, you're learning, you're getting productive, you're moving.
Don't go to the gym. Definitely go to the masjid. Most people don't pray Fajr in the masjid.
Yeah.
Most people, and okay, you might not have a masjid, but there's people who have a masjid like walking distance, and they still do not pray Fajr in the masjid.
Yeah.
What do you want, bro? Allah will not change the condition of people. They cry, they complain, I can't get this, I can't get that. And the only question you have to ask them is like, what have you done, bro? What are you doing? Are you sleeping in the morning? Yeah, brother, you know, like, and sisters are messaging me, calling me, brother, I married this guy. When I married him, mashallah, beard, he's debating people online, he's got videos online, mashallah, giving khutbah. Yeah, he's missing Fajr.
Yeah.
He's not praying Fajr. He is waking up at 9, 10, 11. He's not praying Fajr. What do you think the wife is gonna? She don't have to go to masjid. She gets rewarded for praying in the house. Are you a woman? You're praying at home? What's going on?
Yeah.
How can you expect this woman to respect you, bro? She's not gonna respect you. With all due respect.
And you can't. You make a very important point is to set yourself up for success for Fajr. Is you can't do stuff late at night. Anybody who stays up late at night, you cannot do it. You're setting yourself up for failure. You know, whether it's scrolling, you know, Netflix, whatever, or even tasks. Like if you think, okay, I'm going to do a whole bunch of tasks at night, the later you stay up, you're sabotaging your following day.
Just one thing I want to, you know, subhanAllah, when you look at people always, when they attack Islam, they try to attack the character of the Prophet ﷺ. You know, there's always inconsistency between a man's behavior at home, where he's within four walls, and outside or in public. You'll never find that in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. You will never find, no matter what. And you know, women, they like to complain. You will find throughout. Yes, Aisha radiallahu anha sometimes would be upset with the Prophet ﷺ. She used to say, you know, the Lord of Ibrahim, right? She would get upset. Or you'll never find in the narrations or anything. The enemies of Islam cannot bring anything about the private and intimate life of the Prophet ﷺ that would contradict. He's telling people to do this, do that, and he's not doing it. And I remember one beautiful hadith where Aisha radiallahu anha wakes up at night. And it's pitch black, right? You don't have light pollution, you don't have lights. And she couldn't find the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she kind of like, and then grabs him and finds out that he's praying tahajjud. He's praying. He didn't say, hey Aisha, I'm praying, wake up, hey, look at me. Hey, let's get the camera out. I see recently one brother making a video. May Allah guide him. It hurt me. Because he was like doing this whole, you know, washing your face with the ice, you know, thingy with the, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
5:30, 4:30. He's showing how he's praying tahajjud and this and that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, bro, this not... The Prophet ﷺ didn't say, hey guys, by the way, I'm doing this right now. Come.
Yeah, exactly. Or even when, remember the Prophet ﷺ was visiting the grave, and Aisha radiallahu anha followed him, right, secretly, you know, to see everything about the Prophet ﷺ. Like you would think in private you could try to scandalize, it just makes him even more great. You know, what he does, so what you see in public is not actually as good as what he does in private. And that's, I think, what we all should strive for. And that's why I think social media is such a toxic poison. It's just such a poison because we think we have to show everything. Why do you have to show everything? We were talking about romance before. Why do you have to show yourself being romantic? Then you're not doing it for your wife. You're doing it for the views. Yeah. I want to show them that, you know, it's the sunnah, baby. It's the sunnah to be nice to your wife, you know? It's like, okay. And then you want people to say, mashallah, I wish I had a husband like you. I wish I had a husband like you. By the way. Yeah. By the way, you can, you know. What? I have slots 2, 3, and 4, you know? It's like, I know the game. See, that's why you need a wali, because sisters don't see that. They don't see the game. I can see it a mile away. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what you're trying to do. You know, scamming, you know, brother. I know exactly what you're trying to do. But, you know, subhanAllah, that's why I think it's important for the brothers, for our audience at home, is you have to have good, real relationships in person. You need people who will actually give you nasiha, because ad-din and nasiha, we have to give straight up advice to each other. We should get from traditional sources of knowledge. I think now, especially with how AI is manipulating the perspective of reality online, it is even more important to have real relationships, that you visit people in real life. That's very important, you know. And Jazakallah khair to both of you for this podcast, to be here with us for the conference. You know, alhamdulillah, your insights are invaluable, alhamdulillah. And I love the fact that we can come together, you know, in person and spend this time together, inshallah. And we're going to have a breakfast of champions, inshallah, steak and eggs together. And maybe we'll have some casual conversation that we can add for bonus footage. So we're going to keep the conversation going, but it'll be over, inshallah, some delicious steak and eggs. So for all of you back at home, live authentically, live real, live by the haqq, die by the haqq, and just when you think life is stuck,
Tune in to Life Hub.
tune in to Life Haqq. That's how we roll.